All right then. So peace, everybody. I'm back. This your girl Tiffany coming through live in effect on Facebook. Um, I had to do a little testing to make sure the sound quality was great. So I was told that the sound is good. Now I can get back to doing the video. So as you can see, the title is yes, we need governments, we need jobs. Survival is the key. So I was going to piggyback off of what I was talking about yesterday, how, there's people saying stuff and that is detrimental to tell people that, you don't need government or you don't need a job. You can just become an entrepreneur. Where that sounds good. And believe it or not, I'm all for entrepreneurship, but everybody's not ready. Everybody's not qualified to be an entrepreneur. Okay. And it takes a lot. And a lot of time it takes not only the time, but it also takes the money to do entrepreneurship. And then let's just say if everybody become an entrepreneur, then how do you go about who you're going to have working for you? How are you going to produce income? How are you going to produce production? How are you going to produce wealth if everybody become an entrepreneur? So that's very impossible. And then, we have people that say, well, we don't need government. We don't need a job. We don't need a white man's job. Well, how are you going to survive? You got to have government because the purpose of government, right, is to enforce what politics. When you have politics, you're able to enforce policies. You got to have a system in place. You got to have a system in place, especially if you're paying taxes in this country. Because if you're saying that you don't need government is just like saying you don't need water, you don't need sanitation, you don't need housing, you don't need schools, education, you don't need any type of public transportation, you don't need a medical center, you don't need all of that. And it also saying that you don't need rights either. So by you saying that you don't need government, you're saying that you don't need those things. So how are you going to operate in the system? How are you going to keep things intact? How are you going to make sure that people have, their own rights? How are you going to make sure that people have the basic needs for survival? How are you going to do that? How are you going to go about doing these things if you don't need government? And if you don't need jobs, how are you going to go about surviving? We have to be careful who we listen to when they tell us that we don't need these things. Because 9 times out of 10, as you can see, the madness that's going on right now, there's people that's getting over folks telling people these things, running the con games. They're telling you that you don't need government, but yet instead they're asking you to donate. They're telling you get off your job plantation, but they're asking you to donate. So wait a minute, how are you asking me to give you money when I don't have a job? So you're relying on my income to go into your pockets. It makes no sense. That's why I don't take the concept of this black supremacy very seriously. Why? Because the person that's an organizer behind this, they don't have any practical solution. They don't have any practical solution for the people. You talk about revolutionary, but how the people going to survive? How they going to take care of their family? I've been hearing a lot about Dr. Boyce lately. And what makes it so interesting about Dr. Boyce, he claims to be an entrepreneur, right? But then if you're such an entrepreneur, why is that you're working for somebody named Charles Wu? Somebody got to explain that part to me. Because that part right there, it doesn't make any sense. So where is your entrepreneurship at? How is your business going? What type of clientele do you have? But you want people to quit what they're doing just so you want everybody to become an entrepreneur or be self-sufficient. That really doesn't make any sense. See, we also have to ask about power. People say black power, this, that, and the other, and I'm all for that. And that, the white man, this, that, and the other, but you're not addressing your concerning issue to the white man. For one, you're not even going to how many people would actually go to town hall meetings. How many people will actually go to city halls and address their concern? All the numbers that we have, why there's not many of us going down to the city hall or town halls to address our issues? And how come, it's okay to criticize people that work in a 9-to-5 job, but you're one of the individuals that's not taking care of your priorities, or you're not able to take care of your family? How are you in a position to criticize somebody who have a 9-to-5 job? Now, I was watching Miss Yvette Carnell, one of her old videos, when she had the co-host Irony, I think that's his name, Irony. And she said something. She said, do not listen to people when they tell you to quit your job. Do not listen to these folks, because chances are they're trying to get over you. Do not feel bad for having a job, because that's your basic need of survival. Anybody can recall where one of the stars from the Cosby Show, I can't remember his name. I know his first name is Jeffrey, but I can't remember his last name. Remember what people were making fun of him for working at Trader Joe's, bagging up groceries? Well, you gotta put yourself in his shoe. Once a show has been off air for the past 20 some years and you have no other way of generating income, what you gonna do? You're gonna do whatever is necessary. So you're gonna take an odd job. And he took on that type of responsibility. Right? So the whole point I'm saying is, if we don't have a government, then how are we going to make sure everything is in place? How are you going to go about enforcing policies? How are you going to have politics? How are you going to have jobs if you don't have government? I'm just asking. And many of us don't even know how to grow our own food. Many of us don't know how to build our own houses by hand. Many of us don't even have we don't have that type of resources. There's those of us that don't know enough about home economics. Well, I do. I can't, I can say for myself, I know a little bit about home economics, but there are those who don't even know what home economics is. So you haven't even got to the basic. You haven't got to the basic, but you're in a rush to say, let's not rely on the government. Let's not rely on their jobs. Well, If you don't want to rely on the government and you don't want to rely on their jobs, you might as well not even rely on the income that you get. You might as well not even rely on the money. You might as well not even use the money that you're generating. But it's something that we must keep in mind. Very interesting. We have this utopia, this odd way of thinking that we could be able to survive on our own without having a system in place. Yes, the system that we living in is very corrupted. However, you have to work within the system. You have to work through it. You have to make it possible. That's what you gotta do. You have to make it possible. You know what? And then here's another thing. So I asked a question. Why do most black people show up to work late? Why are we late for a lot of things? Do you know what many say? Well, because time does not exist. That's one commentary. Our African ancestors created time so we can do whatever we want. I kid you not. Then the third comment is, we operate on the African way. Let me say this. Now, there's going to be times when you're late. There's going to be times you're not going to be able to show up because of an emergency situation or any type of current event happens. And that's fine. But if you're just doing it because you feel like you can do what you want and just get away with, then what that goes to show you as a person, as an individual? What does that say about you? If you cannot work on trying to be on time or trying to make sure that, especially when it comes to a job, what does that say? That says that you're really not taking what you're doing seriously. So again, now how can you talk about everybody need to become entrepreneurs and create jobs, this, that, and the other, when you don't even know how to value time? If you can't value time, then how you gonna start as an entrepreneur? Because yeah, you might can make your own schedule, but look, when it comes to like doing certain things, like let's say you have some type of meeting, or let's just say you have some type of contract with a company, or anything that's important, time is going to be necessary. So you're not going to always just get to just do your own schedule, especially if you're working in conjunction with someone else. Yeah, you can set your timing, but at the same time, you got to make sure that you're on time to open up your business. You got to make sure you're on time to be able to go to the meetings or be able to fulfill the contracts that is given to you. You have to make sure you do all that. You have to take the responsibility for that. And based on the comments that I was getting, it seemed like many of us are not ready. You're not ready to be entrepreneurs. Or if you are entrepreneurs, I don't know how long it's going to last you. Because if you have a business, especially if you got a store, and your store say that you open at 8:30 and you decide to open at 9, and you do that consistently every day, then that makes people not want to patronize your business. That makes people not want to come around because they're thinking to themselves, well, goodness gracious, these people can't even value their own time. They talk about 8:30, but they never open on time. I'm just saying. But getting back to my point, and I'm about to go ahead and log off on this video. It's important that we have governments. It's important that we have a system. It's important that we able to have something that's going to bring about the representatives from those government, which brings about the policy that's being enforced into our neighborhoods, our community, our city, states, country, etc. And yes, taxes, you're going to always pay taxes. That's another thing. You know, people try to figure out they can get around with getting away from paying tax dollars to this system that we're living in. But guess what? There's no way around it. Either way it goes, you're going to pay taxes, whether you pay, you know, your income taxes or sale taxes or property taxes, whatever. You're going to pay some form of taxes because that money got to go to the government. Now, when you file your taxes at the end of the year for income, you may not get all of it back, but you get some of it back. And that money goes back to you because at the end of the day, you done paid the government. Now the government is giving you that portion back. So what I'm saying, throughout life, you're going to pay some form of taxes. That's just it. That's all to it. But yeah, getting back to that key point, as a people, we got to have governments. We got to have jobs because at this point, survival is necessary. That's how we're going to survive. Survival is necessary. So yes, you need your governments. You need your jobs. You need your policies. You need all that good stuff because you need to survive. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching the video. I am getting ready to log off of here. Hopefully I'll talk to you guys later. Or as my Muslim people would say, inshallah, if nature wills it so. I'm looking to do a video tomorrow because there's some issue that needs to be addressed. Well, needs to be thoroughly analyzed and discerned regard to this little madness that's going on as far as people taking things to the extreme. It's one thing when you dislike somebody. You know, it's one thing when you don't want to be bothered with them. You can't stand them. And that's nature. You're going to dislike someone. But it's another thing when you go above and beyond and you try to make yourself the bad guy. Or you try to pretend like, you know, you ain't scared and this, that, and the other. And you put yourself on blast on camera, waving your weapon around. And then you get a knock at the door. So we're going to discuss about how the issues in the conscious community, how it's being misrepresented. Let's just put it like that. How the conscious community is being misrepresented on all levels. And where's the black empowerment at? So I'm going to discuss more into details about that, elaborate on it tomorrow. Like I say, inshallah. But, or if nature wills it so. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you that are just coming in, you'll have to watch it from the beginning. So you guys have a wonderful evening or wherever you are in this world. And we'll talk soon. With that being said, peace, power, and elevation be to all you beautiful people out there. Thank you guys so much. And you have a good one. Deuces. Salute. Until next time. All right.